Welcome back, everyone. The U.S. and China are now on a dangerous collision course. That's what an expert on China's military told the New York Times earlier this week after a bipartisan group of lawmakers touched down in Taiwan last Sunday. Now, that visit came on the heels of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's trip to the region. China responded to the speaker's visit by launching multi-day military exercises around Taiwan. A senior White House official on Asia policy said China had used Speaker Pelosi's visit as a pretext to launch an intensified pressure campaign and feared it could jeopardize peace and stability across the region. Democratic Congressman Don Beyer of Virginia was a member of the latest congressional delegation to visit Taiwan. He joins me now. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. Let me start broadly here. What motivated your trip to Taiwan, and how concerned are you about the possibility of further increased tensions?
Well, I mean, this trip was planned long before we heard about Nancy Pelosi's trip. So, I mean, even 3 or 4 months ago. But we decided to go ahead, despite or maybe because of Speaker Pelosi's trip. It was fascinating when I got there. We had a couple of days and met with many different people, including the President Tsai. But the biggest impression I got was how grateful they were that we had this renewed American commitment to the status quo, to their peaceful coexistence. After Speaker Pelosi's visit, all of the live fire exercises, the overflights, I had not realized that for decades, the center of the Taiwan Strait, the mid-mark, was really the unofficial dividing line between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China and Taiwan. And China has completely violated that. They're flying literally on the shores of Taiwan right now. So I think it was really important for us to say, you are the 8th most important trading partner for the United States. For the first time now, our U.S. Trade Rep, Katherine Tai, is initiating trade talks between the U.S. and Taiwan. After the recent CHIPS Act, where we're going to put $52 billion into semiconductors, really important for us to know the main source of semiconductors for all of our industries right now is Taiwan. We don't want communist China to sort of fulfill their fantasy of pulling that island back into their country.
Has anyone from the White House been in contact with you or your fellow lawmakers concerning this trip and the political sensitivities around it?
Not with me, perhaps with Senator Markey. And of course, while we were there, we read about how she had asked President Biden to keep the speaker from going. And I think the president appropriately said there's a division of separation of powers in the United States, and the president can't tell the speaker what to do, which I appreciated.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me ask you in another way. Is Taiwan worth the risk of going to war with China over?
We have, in fact, that was really interesting, Ayman, that you asked that, because much of the discussion was about the so-called strategic ambiguity versus strategic clarity. And, the President Biden's made a couple of I think heartfelt but interesting comments on that subject. Yeah. I think where most of the people in Taiwan are, and I think U.S. policy has been, we are committed to Taiwan's self-determination, their independence, while recognizing sort of the historical idea of one China policy. So it's been better for us to be, I think, tactically ambiguous about whether we'd be willing to go to war. We certainly wanted to deter communist China from extending their more belligerent aspects, not just to Taiwan, but to Japan or Solomon Islands or anywhere else in East Asia.
Let me, if I can, switch gears for a moment, Congressman, to some policy back here at home. This week, President Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act. It is a sweeping bill that would help tackle climate change and lower health care costs. What will this bill do for your constituents in Virginia? What will it not do? Where do you think it fell short? Where do you think it succeeds?
I don't think it fell short anywhere at all, except when you compare it to the original Build Back Better that was, three or four times the size. But it is still historic. It's the biggest ever environmental bill in American history. We're going to be able to cut our greenhouse gas emissions by 40% over 2005 by 2030. I think the biggest single thing it does for the people who live in Northern Virginia that I represent is it says, look, government can work. We have hope. All those young people that are depressed and anxious because they see, the world burning up around them. We've finally done something at a national level to say, no, we can combat climate change and move strongly in the right direction. It's a very hopeful sign.
Unfortunately, the Republicans are already preparing attacks against the IRA. Axios has reported on one particular ad that they've tested that features several attack lines going after the bill's tax provisions, in particular the hiring of 87,000 new IRS agents. How do you think Democrats should counter that misinformation from the Republicans?
Well, the first thing is just to point out that that is just simply a lie. Right now, only 11% of all the IRS employees are even tax collectors, auditors. And so the best estimates are there may be 30,000 more IRS employees, and very few of them will be tax auditors. There'll be people that will be processing those 10 million individual claims that are backlogged, stuck in IRS cafeterias across the country. You know, right now, the number one person likely to get audited is somebody who's poor in the South getting an earned income tax credit, which means they make less than $30,000 a year. The audits on rich people have fallen by more than half since 2012. We've been cutting back on the people who should be audited, ratcheting up on the people that don't have any money anyway. And so this is not about increasing auditing. It's trying to make sure that the system works. When you call the IRS, somebody will answer the phone.